Hello and welcome to the very first As Failed on TV dinner. I am your host, Chris the Nerd, and I'm very excited to have you with me today, because I am on a quest, a very important quest. You might not know this about me, but I am quite the connoisseur of frozen foods and meals, and for a long time I've been asking myself a question. What is the best one? Which ones are the worst, and which ones are just downright bizarre? I intend to find out. Over the course of this series, I will be trying all manner of frozen meals and rating them based on a couple of different categories. I cut the pause for you, but there was a distinct pause while I tried to discover that word. Perhaps scripts going forward might not be the worst idea. Anyway, today we're going to be putting it to the test, and I figured the best place to start would be with a frozen meal that I think is going to be fine. We're going to need a baseline standard to compare all of the others to, and I think the Hungry Man Salisbury Steak is a really great place for us to begin our little journey. The reason for that is quite simple. I had this several times as a youth, and I remember it being perfectly adequate. That's it. I remember it being fine. I assume that will remain the case today. Salisbury steak is a pretty, I think, solid choice when it comes to a frozen meal. You can't really go wrong. It's just a slab of meat. It's got some potatoes. It's got green beans. I like green beans. I think this one will be good enough for us to compare everything else to going forward as we continue this. So my categories in rating these is going to be very simple. I'm looking for taste. Obviously, they got to taste good. I think that's a pretty easy one. If I don't vomit, that's a pretty solid baseline. Portion, that's going to vary, I think. Hungry Man tends to be on the higher side, so this is going to be more well-rated probably than some others that we have in the future. Price, I didn't keep my receipt, but if I remember correctly, I think this was like $3. I bought it at Walmart. I'll be able to look it up on their website and confirm. And then the last thing, if miracles do indeed exist, we will rate these based on nutrition, which I know Hungry Man is probably the lowest tier, because these things, while they boast in these red circles the high amounts of protein, the trade-off is an insane amount of sugar that gets added, and most predominantly salt. So taking a look at this, whoa boy, 1,700 milligrams of sodium. Oh my god. Okay, well, so we're not off to a great start health-wise, but that's okay. Maybe it can be redeemed in the other categories that we have. And I think, well, you can see it. Well, no point, let's just cook it. It's going to be a few minutes for me, but it'll be a jump cut for you. And I'm not going to include this in my rubric, or I don't know where it would go based off of the categories that I have set forth for this. But one thing that's annoying about Hungry Man dinners in specific is the removal of the brownie. Like, that's such an extra, it is an extra step that I don't think is necessary. Carefully remove brownie. Carefully kiss my ass. I'm gonna go cook this. So, after a solid 8 minutes of cooking, we have the meal. It did say to stir the potatoes one more time. A little annoying to do with one hand, but I'm suddenly apprehensive. Almost like this was a bad idea. Like, you see the color? I don't know if you can see that. I did just drown it in gravy, but it's got like a grayish color to it. It looks, I don't know. But hey, we're wasting time. Very gelatinous looking gravy, but I mean, I think there's supposed to be like mushrooms in there, but I don't see any. I distinctly remember in the past, the Salisbury steak, the gravy had like little cubes of mushroom in there. I guess, I don't know, maybe they got rid of that to cut on the already abysmal costs. Here we go. It looked worse than it tastes, which is not great. It's certainly not what you would prefer, but it's very salty. I would imagine so with 1,700 milligrams of sodium. It is very salty, but it's not bad. These are decent. The gravy is a little bit runny, not amazing. It would be a lot better if there were actually some mushrooms in it, but there aren't. The potatoes, I assume they have a very sticky sort of quality to them as I mix them here. Instant mashed potatoes are never great, but like I've had Hungry Man mashed potatoes several times. They're not amazing, but ooh, they are hot though, which is good. I mean, I would fucking hope so. 8 minutes in the microwave. Yeah, they're not great. They have, like I said, they have a weird kind of gluey texture to them. It's like, these are worse than what you would get from like a Kentucky Fried Chicken has better potatoes than this, or like the Bob Evans mashed potatoes you can get at the grocery store are leagues better than this. But for something that you heat up for 8 minutes, probably better with some gravy. Potatoes are always better with gravy anyway. That helps significantly. As I'm about to take this bite, that was a little tougher to cut through. And for a Salisbury steak should not be tough. So I'm worried about this bite. I actually feel like I got a little bit of onion in there, which is also a positive. Like if you were making Salisbury steak, that little diced onion in there really goes a long way. But let's do the green beans. The green Neil Breens. This is a fateful finding, all right. These are going to be perfectly fine because they are just green beans. I like green beans. Hard to fuck up a green bean. As anticipated, this is a perfectly adequate meal. It's very salty, but overall, it's not bad. Before we get on to dessert, let's see what's on TV. Are you tired? Yes. Are you tired? Yeah. Are you tired? My God, I said yes. This program and others like it are brought to you by exhaustion. Irritated at the thought of not going through your life not being irritable for reasons your brain can't fully articulate? New and improved sleep deprivation. Coming soon wherever fine goods are sold. Oh, I didn't know that was for sale. I should pick some up at the store later. Hey everyone, it's me. I have to keep really quiet. I'm guerrilla filming this right now in my bedroom of my apartment because the people upstairs, well, they don't like it when people get too loud. They'll send a curse down upon me, and I'm not really in the mood to deal with that right now, but I do have to advertise my book. I wrote this a little while ago. It's called Journey of the Ashes. It's the story of two brothers. They're getting together, and they're going to spread their daddy's ashes, and they're kept in this here container, which exists in real life. I made this myself. I painted it. I use it now to hold Q-tips. Purchase my book, and the other ones I have. Links will be in the description. I think I'll be okay. Man, what a sellout. Well, there's nothing good on TV, so let's have dessert. Now, you could make the argument that I did this wrong because I did not remove the brownie. The only thing on the steps that was like extra mile-y was to rearrange the patties in the gravy after the first batch of 4 minutes of cooking. It also tells you should carefully remove the brownie with a fork, and I know I complained earlier that isn't something I should have to do, so I didn't do it. And in breaking the rules, I've probably made the brownie, a million times worse than it is. Oh boy. Oh. But we've got to try it. That's part of the deal here. We have to try it, so... Oh my God, it's so tough. I was worried about the steak patties being tough. I ain't got shit on this. Oh, it's so hard. It's like a hockey puck. It has a very bizarre, cakey sort of texture to it. Like, this thing is an affront to brownies. It's a barely noticeable chocolate. It has such a weird texture to it. It tastes like if someone else ate a devil dog and then burped into your mouth. That's what this tastes like. It's so chewy and bad. I don't like it. If there are other Hungry Man meals that come with this fucking brownie, they will be the death of me. I hate them. Let me give my final rating here, so that way I can eat the rest of this meal in peace. I used to think as a kid that 2 of these patties were nowhere near good enough, but they certainly are. They're nice and filling. They have like a solid they're a solid mass, which is a great indicator for a food review. It's like, oh, it's a solid mass. But it is. It's thick enough. It is filling. The potatoes are essentially glue, so that's bound to be filling too. But yeah, that is my review of the Hungry Man Salisbury Steak, and since it is our first episode, it has the distinct honor of being currently the best frozen meal you can get and the worst frozen meal you can get. So, congratulations, Hungry Man Salisbury Steak. Be sure to join us on the next As Failed on TV dinner when I do something else. I won't know what it will be until I do it. So, but thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know your recommendations for what you want me to try out in the future. Maybe some suggestions. I'm happy to have any sort of opinions. Tell me what you think of this meal if you have had it, and whether or not I have done an adequate job scaring you away from ever getting it yourself. Until next time, I have been your host, Chris the Nerd, and I will see you on the next As Failed on TV dinner.